This is a Kahan TV sports break. Let's get right down to it. I went straight to the NBA expert's home and I dragged Vlad into my car, kidnapped him, and drove him to Kahan TV studios. We got something important to talk about. There finally was a major NBA development this summer. I didn't think it would happen, but the Cavaliers gave in to Kyrie Irving's request for a trade and dealt him to their direct Eastern Conference rival Boston Celtics for Isaiah Thomas. Vlad, before I tell you what I think, which we haven't discussed this at all yet because I wanted us to talk about it for the first time on the air, but tell us, do you think this is a good trade for the Cavaliers?
Okay, when you look at the situation and that Irving demanded a trade and there was no coming back from that, once you make it such a public demand, there's no way LeBron was going to play with this guy again. It would have killed the total chemistry of the team. Anyways, they would have never won anything. It would have just been awful. So considering what they got back, considering that they got Thomas, Crowder, maybe the Brooklyn pick and another pick from the Celtics that they drafted last year, some European guy, who knows how that's going to be. But anyways, the fact that they could get the number one pick in next year's draft with the Brooklyn pick, because we know Brooklyn's going to suck, right? So we know that. So they could potentially get the number one pick. And then when you also consider that LeBron might be leaving at the end of this year, they might have to blow up the whole thing anyway, so it doesn't even matter. They might as well start with the number one pick and go from there. So they did the best they could given the circumstances. I truly believe that they got the best deal they could have gotten.
Vlad, I'm itching to jump in. I'm sorry. I know I dragged you here and I want to let you talk too.
No, it's okay.
But this thing really bothers me. I don't think it's a good trade for the Cavs. I'm going to say no. Cavs lose this trade.
Mm-hmm.
This is why. Two reasons. First of all, I don't think Kyrie Irving demanded a trade like he wants to leave right now. In my opinion, there's an unspoken thing that happened here. Kyrie Irving wants to leave the Cavs next year when he's going to be a free agent. He told them. He basically said, I'm going to leave next year. So if you want any value out of me, out of a trade, you better do it now. That's out of good faith to the Cavaliers. But he can't come out publicly and tell Cleveland, I don't want to live in Cleveland. I'm sorry, but he's a young, decent-looking, rich guy. He doesn't want to live in Cleveland. He wants to move on. He already won the title. Right. He knows LeBron's leaving anyways. Right. If you want any value for him, they got it right now. Now the question is, should they have traded him? Because really, they were guaranteed to be in the finals again this next year with LeBron and Kyrie. That's one crack at a title. A thing that most franchises never get. Sure, they've had 3 in the past 3 years. They're taking it for granted. Because in my opinion, they should have took that one last chance and went for it. With LeBron and Kyrie and maybe Dwayne Wade if they could get him. Instead, they were looking to the future, which who cares about the future? The Cavs are going to suck after LeBron leaves anyways. They're going to be a shit team. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think this was a bad deal for them. In my opinion, they should have went for it. And they screwed this up because they got Isaiah Thomas. Okay, Isaiah Thomas is cool. He's a really good player. But he's not Kyrie Irving.
Right.
They weakened the team overall. They're going to go to the finals. And Isaiah Thomas doesn't give them a better chance to beat the Warriors at all because of his size. He's already been exposed in the playoffs. He doesn't have the size to compete at the highest level. If they put Draymond Green or Kevin Durant on him or even Klay Thompson, he's not going to be effective. Right. And that's that. That's why I think this was a bad trade.
But you're thinking that they had a legitimate chance to beat the Warriors anyways, and I don't think they did. So
I think they did. I think this past finals they played poorly. I think it should have been closer than 4-1. I felt it was a closer series than 4-1. They also played really stupidly.
Right.
I think they should have had, we talked about that in our finals review show.
Right.
But I think they should have went in for one last crack. So you have your opinion. I get what you're saying.
Right.
What the fuck was that? Anyways, it's ghosts here, at Kahan TV Studios. It was a good thing for them for the future, for the Cavaliers.
Right.
But I don't think it was good for this season, and I think that's what's most important. They should have just done what was best for this season because they will never, ever be close to the finals ever again.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you another question. Also, in addition to trading away Kyrie Irving, they trade him to the Celtics, their most hated rivals, their most direct rival at the moment.
Right.
Should you do that? Should you deal with teams who are in your conference? Not only in your conference, but a team you're going to see in the conference finals. Kyrie Irving is going to be playing against Cleveland in the conference finals.
Yeah, it's a little unorthodox and it's strange, no doubt. But maybe if they felt this was the best package, they thought, well, why not? You know, maybe if they felt this was the best trade they could get back, rival East, trade. Some people say don't trade within conferences. Obviously, never trade when you're rivals with that team. But I think if you got to do what's best for the team in general and not focus so much on the rival part. Because if this was the best trade they could get, then you take it. Whether it's the Celtics or whether it's if they made a trade with the Warriors, they had to make that happen. They had to make the best trade that was for the organization. And I think that they got a pretty good, haul back.
I don't think it was bad. I think if there was any trade you could make, I think this was the best possible trade they could have made.
So you agree with it?
I do. I know. I don't agree that it should have happened. I think it was the best they could get out of it. It was the most they could get. Right. They got a legitimate scorer, a guy who could help LeBron in the fourth quarter, take some pressure off his shoulders. I just don't think it's the best thing to play against the Warriors because we all know that's what's going to happen. Anyways, Vlad, one last question before we end the show. Who do you think is going to win? The Cavs or the Celtics?
I think Irving is a good player, very good player. I don't think he's a superstar player. So I do think while that will make the Celtics more of an interesting team, any team with LeBron is going to be favored, and I would still take the Cavs in the best-of-7 series against the Celtics because LeBron is a winner. He's a superstar player. And we've seen what Kyrie Irving can do before LeBron got there. He was carrying the Cavs to 20-win teams. I mean, he's a good player, but not a superstar player that's going to carry the franchise on his back to titles. Not going to happen. So, yes, Celtics are going to be good. They're going to give them a fight. They're going to give the Cavs a challenge. But LeBron James is still LeBron James, and they don't have enough to beat them still. So I'm going to take the Cavs. I would still take them.
All right, well, me too. But I don't think they have a chance to beat the Warriors now again. All right, well, thanks for coming in and discussing this. That is all for this edition of Sports Break.
Wait, you brought me all the way over here, and you're not going to talk about Chris Paul signing with the Rockets? I mean, you're a Clipper fan. I got to hear what you think about all this.
You want to hear what I think about Chris Paul going to Houston? All right. Well, I guess we had to talk about it eventually. You want to go there? So, sore subject, Vlad, But sure, fine. Sports Break, NBA.
Wow. Of course you have that.
I wear it everywhere I go. All right. Well, first of all, you want to hear what I think? I didn't want to make this in today's show a discussion because, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I'm here to discuss major developments in the NBA. And Chris Paul going to Houston is not a major development. Chris Paul is a loser. Yeah. You can add Chris Paul as just another name in the long list of traitorous Clipper losers.
Long list? I can only think of one other player. Elton Brand?
Okay, there are only two. But nonetheless, if he thinks playing with James Harden is going to give him a chance to win a championship, then he is sadly mistaken. You said it yourself right here on the air last year. No Mike D'Antoni team will ever win a title. He can run up and down the court all season long and dish out assists for threes in the corner, win 60 games. But I think he's in for a wake-up call if he thinks that no defense playing James Harden can ever win a title. I wouldn't be surprised if he realizes this and leaves after one season. The Clippers have shown that they can play at a championship level to compete for a title. They beat the Spurs at their peak with Tim Duncan in a 7-game series. Staying with the Clippers and keeping the core healthy was his best chance to win the title, but he let his personal feelings get in the way. That is a fact. His disdain for Doc Rivers and his preferential treatment towards Austin Rivers, his son, that's why he left. So he left only to make a point, but all I can say is good riddance and thank you. Thank you for saving us from signing you to an awful $200 million contract just because we would have felt obligated to. But thank goodness. I would be happy if we could land Isaiah Thomas next season when his contract runs out. He's young. He has heart. The fact is, Chris Paul's only job was to come through for us in the clutch, and he didn't get the job done. He hung around the top of the key while Blake and DeAndre did all the work through the regular season, and then he fucked it up against the Thunder and the Rockets in their two best chances to win the title in the conference semis. So thank you, Chris Paul. Thank you for your 5 years of service, and go fuck yourself.
Damn. So I'm guessing you burned your Chris Paul jersey?
Luckily, I didn't have a Chris Paul jersey. I still have my Elton Brand jersey. Elton Brand is a much bigger Clipper legend than Chris Paul. Even though he was a traitor too, he played with more heart, didn't sit out with little tiny injuries. I have nothing against Elton Brand. He left in a different era. Donald Sterling was still the owner, so you can't blame that. But Chris Paul, well, I won't repeat myself. You know what I think. I'm sore. It sucks to feel betrayed. He gave us some memorable performances. I feel he made the wrong decision. I feel he made a stupid decision, and I'm disappointed in him. I know you disagree, though.
Oh, absolutely. Well, in the sense that I agree with you that I don't think the Rockets are going to win any titles, but I think they have a better chance than the Clippers ever did, because I told you, I've never liked Blake. I don't like DeAndre. Doc Rivers is an overrated coach. That team was getting worse and worse. They finally took Doc Rivers away from being the GM and the coach. Finally.
Yeah, that was a good choice. But still, you really think the Rockets have more of a chance than the Clippers?
Yeah.
In a playoff series. The Rockets are a regular season team. And are you going to... Don't be a hypocrite. You're going to take back what you said about Mike D'Antoni last year?
I just said that they're not going to win. But they have a better chance than the Clippers would have going into this next season. Because the Clippers, as that group, has already shown many, many times, they cannot win. As they are, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah,
either injuries or because they just don't have they don't lack the mental toughness to do it or the capacity.
You mean they lack the mental toughness?
They lack it, right? Well, whatever I said.
Well, of course we don't have a chance this year. We just lost Chris Paul. We didn't get anything back for it. And if Chris Paul was on the team, I think the Clippers.
Well, no, that's what I meant. I meant if Chris Paul was on the team.
Okay.
Right, the Rockets would have.
Well, we're just gonna disagree on that. Yeah. I had faith with that team. I had faith in the Clippers. I thought they were a good team. They never had a real run. They had 2 real runs at the title, and Chris Paul cost us both times. God bless him. I liked him. I like the Clippers. I'll go with anybody. I don't blame anybody. But he was at the center of losing for those series against the Thunder and the Rockets in the conference semis. If anyone was to blame for them not getting to the conference finals, it was Chris Paul himself. Because that was his only job. Blake did his job. He got his 20 points. That wasn't his job to take the big shots at the end of the game. It was Chris Paul's job. And he lost the ball. It lost big turnover against the Thunder, and
that's true.
He didn't show up against the Rockets.
But I wouldn't say Blake or DeAndre came up big at any of those games either. So I mean, yes,
they're not supposed to.
They're supposed to be They're supposed to do a little bit more than they did in some of those key situations. I think.
They did fine. We should have beat the Thunder and we should have beat the Rockets. We should have had 2 conference finals appearances.
Well, at the very least, you should beat the Rockets. You know how I feel about that, but.
All right.
Okay. What's done is done.
Well, that is all for this edition of Sports Break. If I could, Vlad. We got another couple months until the basketball season starts. Until then, I guess we got the baseball playoffs to look forward to as the Dodgers look to cap off their historic season with a long-awaited World Series appearance. And of course, we'll be covering the English Premier League and the UEFA Champions League here at Kayhan TV Studios. I would like to thank the NBA expert, Vlad Katajcik, for allowing us to kidnap him and join our NBA discussions. It's always an honor and a pleasure to see you.
Well, it's great being here.
And I'd like to thank all of you out there. Thanks for watching and supporting the shows with views. Tell your friends to follow the show if you liked it. And I hope we will see you all very soon. Till the next time.